Chapter 51. The Master's Love for His Devotees. Wednesday, April 21, 1886. M. and Narendra were strolling in the garden of the house at Kashipur. Narendra was very much worried because he had not yet been able to solve the financial difficulties of his family. Narendra: I don't care for the job at the Bidyasagar school. I have been thinking of going to Goa. I have been told that a zemindar there needs the services of a manager for his estate. There is no such thing as God. M. Smiling: You may say that now, but later on you will talk differently. Skepticism is a stage in the path of God realization. One must pass through stages like this and go much farther. Only thus can one realize God. That is what the Master says. Narendra: Has anybody seen God as I see that tree? M. Yes, our Master has seen God that way. Narendra: It may be his hallucination. M. Whatever a person experiences in a particular state is real for him in that state. Suppose you are dreaming that you have gone to a garden. As long as the dream lasts, the garden is real for you. But you think of it as unreal when your mind undergoes a change, as, for instance, when you awake. When your mind attains the state in which one sees God, you will know God to be real. Narendra: I want truth. The other day, I had a great argument with Sri Ramakrishna himself. M. Smiling: What happened? Narendra: He said to me, some people call me God. I replied, let 1,000 people call you God, but I shall certainly not call you God as long as I do not know it to be true. He said, whatever many people say is indeed truth. That is dharma. Thereupon I replied, let others proclaim a thing as truth, but I shall certainly not listen to them unless I myself realize it as truth. M. Smiling: Your attitude is like that of Western savants, Copernicus and Berkeley, for instance. The whole world said it was the sun that moved. But Copernicus did not listen. Everybody said the external world was real, but Berkeley paid no heed. Therefore, Lewis says, Why was Berkeley not a philosophical Copernicus? Narendra, can you give me a history of philosophy? M. By whom? Lewis? Narendra, no, Überweg. I must read a German author. M. You just said, has anybody seen God as I see that tree? Suppose God comes to you as a man and says, I am God. Will you believe it then? You certainly remember the story of Lazarus. After his death, Lazarus said to Abraham, let me go back to the earth and tell my friends and relatives that hell and the afterlife exist. Abraham replied, do you think they will believe you? They will say, it is a charlatan who is telling them such things. The Master says that God cannot be known by reasoning. By faith alone one attains everything, knowledge and superknowledge. By faith alone one sees God and becomes intimate with Him. It was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sri Ramakrishna was in bed. Ramlal, who had come from Dukhineshwar, was massaging his feet. Gopal of Sindhi and M were in the room. Sri Ramakrishna asked M to shut the windows and massage his feet. At the Master's request, Purno had come to the Kashipur garden in a hired carriage. M was to pay the carriage hire. Sri Ramakrishna made a sign to Gopal asking whether he had obtained the money from M. Gopal answered in the affirmative. At 9 o'clock in the evening, Surendra, Ram, and the others were about to return to Kolkata. It was the sultry month of April, and Sri Ramakrishna's room became very hot during the day. So Surendra had brought some new straw screens to keep the room cool. Surendra, why? Nobody has hung up these straw screens. Nobody here pays attention to anything. A devotee, smiling. The devotees here are now in the state of Brahmagyana. They feel, I am He. The world is unreal to them. When they come down to a lower plane and regard God as the Master and themselves as His servants, they will pay attention to the service of Sri Ramakrishna. All laugh.